Hello everybody, Rebus here doing a review for the game Heroes of Hammerwatch. This is a roguelike game that recently came out in which you play as one of initially the 4 starting classes. So you have the Paladin, you have the Ranger, you have the Sorcerer, and you have the Warlock. Eventually you can unlock other ones like the Thief, the Priest, and the Wizard. So, once you have selected your character, I'll go ahead and select one that I already have made. You are dropped into this town. Initially, the town will be very basic. It'll be run down. There won't be a lot of shops open or anything. Now, the entire goal of Heroes of Hammerwatch is to basically go into the mines, which are located up here. And once you go into the mines, this is where the roguelike dungeon delving takes place. There's a ton of monsters to fight under here, and you'll gain items and everything. But the main source of income that you'll be looking for is both gold and these items called ore. Ore is used to basically pay for upgrades in your town. It can do anything from opening up a new item shop, to unlocking a character, to actually allowing you other perks, such as buying ore with your money instead of having to find it. And basically that is kind of the whole gist of the game. You'll keep going lower into the dungeon. Monsters get harder and harder to fight. So it's a very unique kind of dungeon delving. Gameplay wise, the game does take place as this top-down, over-the-head view, kind of isometric look to it. The dungeons initially look pretty much like this. Here's an orb as an example that you will find. So you'll basically come down into the dungeon. Left click swings your sword, right click does your first special ability, and eventually you can level up to include other abilities. For the knight, he can heal, he can also do dashes, he can also do spin attacks later on. But your main currency is this ore that you will find in this dungeon. But once you actually find ore, it is not safe. You have to basically send it back. And to do that, you will have to find these lifts that are kind of strewn throughout the actual mines themselves. The lifts can only be used once per floor, so you want to make it's kind of a balance of when to send the lift and when to actually hold on to your money and try and get more money. Since you can actually die pretty easily in this game, there's a bunch of enemies that overwhelm you very quickly. The initial levels are pretty not easy, but they're at least easy enough that you can make it through. And at the end of about 3 floors, you will end up fighting kind of the big bad boss of that set of floors. Now to get to the next floor, you'll basically be looking for these stairways. And as you can see, I have $954 and 5 of the actual ore with me. So here's an example of one of the basic mineshaft trolley systems that you can send your money on. When you actually do collect and want to send the money back to town, you are taxed. To reduce this tax, you obviously have to pay ore. But that money is now banked. If my character dies, it does not matter. I will still get to keep that money. There's also basically secrets throughout each sort of level, so there's a lot of discovery in the game. The only weird issue is that traps can kill you pretty quickly. See, traps can kill you very quickly initially. And once you die, you're kind of given this basic layout of how what happened. So this is the actual town. We're going to wander through that for just a second. And every different building houses usually somebody that can sell you something, can actually level up your perks. And each perk takes your level up tokens away. and you basically also have to level up that actual guild too to get better perks. So everything requires this ore. The later you kind of get on to the actual like levels, the more expensive everything is. Like initially these are only like 10, 5, and then you start to see like 20, 10, 15, and then these are like 30 each. So it gets progressively more expensive as you keep trying to level up. And it is kind of a little bit of a sync with that. Visually, the game pretty much, I mean, it's exactly as you would expect with it. It's this very 2D isometric look to it. It kind of harkens back to the old style of like Diablo, where you would have kind of that slightly pixelated look to it. The only thing I have noticed is the enemies and the characters. While the characters can be customized with different colors that you like to actually have your character look differently, the actual like enemies and such do not really change color. And they kind of like are very limited in the amount of enemies that there are. So for instance, your actual like priest or whoever you play as, you can select some different colors for them to at least give them a little bit of uniqueness. And that does play into the actual, like, something else we'll talk about with multiplayer. So, characters, you share everything with it. But visually, like, the characters look good. My only main issue with the visuals is feedback from actually fighting things. When an enemy hits you, it's a very brief, like, pop-up to let you know. And that can actually be a little bit disorienting. Like, there's a lot of stuff, like, right now you can see, like, I've got, like, a purple thing going around me. My mana's being used up. So there's a lot of, like, visual feedback that can be a little bit daunting. And it's not until, like, you're almost dead that you'll be able to tell that you're basically almost dead. So, in that respect, the visuals do fall a little bit flat. You will also see a lot of the same enemy types, like I said. And until you beat the boss of the set of floors, there's no way to quick travel to the next set. So you're kind of going to keep seeing the same enemies, like these bugs you'll see for a good while until you get past their floors. Sound-wise, the game has decent sound. Weapon swings kind of have this like little like, I guess very like, I guess it's kind of a decent sound. The music's alright, it's decent enough. It's not like super great, like oh my gosh this is like a bumpin' soundtrack, but it does get the job done. So overall the sound's alright, it's not too bad. So the controls for this game. The controls are kind of an odd mixed bag. When you're playing with your keyboard and mouse, you will end up with this crosshair that whichever way you point, your character will automatically point towards, and that's kind of the way you do it. Now, I'm going to switch over to the controller real quick, and you'll see a definite quick difference. Now you have this like weird straight line that kind of like comes out from you, so unfortunately this can be a little bit disorienting. I'm not a fan of the line version, so I end up using the keyboard and mouse. It just seems a little bit easier. Unfortunately the controls can be a little bit like, I wouldn't say confusing, but I would say like they could be a little bit like difficult to manage your hands around. Since the Q, the E, and everything are also used, it can be a weird like finger exercise to actually stretch your hands and kind of reach all the keys, especially in a multiple fight where you have like a bunch of stuff coming at you. So multiplayer is pretty easy to get into. You can have up to 4 players that basically come with you, and people are quickly joining into it. As you can see, we're having people pop in. So there's a lot of people playing this, and it looks like it's actually like a growing game. And I do have to say, like, the actual actual gameplay of it's pretty darn good. I am enjoying the multiplayer version. It is a lot of fun to play. So, multiplayer is pretty decent for the game. So, final thoughts on this game. I am really enjoying actually playing this game. I think it's a really well done game. It's a lot of fun if you play with multiple people. I am enjoying that aspect of it. I think that the actual gameplay is pretty fun to play with multiple people. It's also fun for a single, but it is a heavy grind. The game is not by any means a short, easy to get through game. You're going to spend a lot of time gathering ore, and unfortunately at times you just won't get anything, which can be kind of a downside to it. So I do have to say that's an unfortunate portion of the game. Overall though, I'd have to say the game is a lot of fun to play. If you can get a bunch of people to play and you enjoy like that kind of dungeon delving, pick it up. Give it a try. And it's not badly priced, so it's a lot of fun and it's worth it. But this is Rebus saying, if you enjoyed these reviews, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and please subscribe. And until next time guys, I'll catch you later.